What's up, YouTube? We need to have a quick chat about melatonin. That's right, the common sleep aid or sleep supplement sold in health food stores, supplement stores, unaware of the actual physiological nature and the damaging effects it can have on your body. That's right, if you're supplementing with melatonin for sleep or any other reason, stop immediately. But stay tuned for the rest of this video to find out exactly why that is, what melatonin actually does to your body, its dangerous side effects, and some other natural, more safe, and healthier things you can do to actually improve the quality of your sleep. So what is melatonin anyways? People say it's a hormone that you need for sleep, but I will argue that you do not. Although melatonin is referred to as the hormone of darkness and the hormone of winter, the fact of the matter is that melatonin is actually a stress hormone, a stress mediator. That's right, melatonin, along with cortisol and adrenaline, the classic stress hormones secreted under stress, are also secreted under darkness during wintertime when you're sleeping and whenever your body is stressed out, in order to sort of regulate your metabolism so that way you don't die, although your metabolism is slowed down. And guess what else increases under stress in all those circumstances? That's right, you guessed it, melatonin. At this point, you're probably wondering, wait, Nick, why is it that so many huge stores and supplement companies, etc., sell melatonin if it's that bad for me? Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding about the nature of melatonin and a lot of other things in the whole science world. There's a lot of biased misinformation that has people confused and taking supplements and doing things that are actually damaging to their health. I won't dive into that any deeper, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. You see, what is known about melatonin, its true physiological nature, again, figured out by competent physiologists, not biased researchers, is that melatonin has one primary action in the body. It suppresses your metabolism, just like the other stress chemicals do. Now, this is a survival mechanism. Again, during wintertime, during darkness, during stress, your metabolism downregulates to preserve your energy, trying to help you survive on little to no energy or less energy. So again, this is obviously helpful on the short term, acutely, like let's say during wintertime. You don't want to just die during the wintertime because there's less sun and less food and less daylight. However, to actively suppress your metabolism with something like melatonin is a really bad idea. You see, there's actually one real way in which melatonin helps you fall asleep, and it's not a good way. It's actually detrimental to your health to fall asleep in this way. Melatonin, again, suppresses the metabolism. And this is not good for many reasons. Your metabolism isn't just for burning fat or burning calories so that way you don't become obese or overweight. Your metabolism has over 10,000 different physiological functions. And one of the major jobs your metabolism has, or the major job, is to produce ATP, or biological energy. So melatonin actually interferes with this energy production. It interferes with mitochondrial respiration, which is the fancy physiological term for energy production. So melatonin is actually only making you sleepy by slowing down the metabolism and having your body produce less energy. So you're not really sleepy as much as you are fatigued or chronically tired. Now, this not only explains the grogginess that's associated with supplementing with melatonin, it also explains the long list of negative side effects that come along with taking melatonin, like the fact that it makes your brain sluggish, it impairs cognitive function. You see, the brain has a really high metabolic rate, meaning that it needs a lot of sugar, a lot of glucose or energy to work. But melatonin, by suppressing your metabolism, is going to mean your brain gets less energy, which slows down all of its cognitive and motor functions. Now, something else about melatonin in regards to your health is that it's known to atrophy your sex glands. That's right. You don't want that. It's also going to make you infertile. Melatonin is also known to weaken your immune function. Why? Well, because the metabolism dictates the rate of immunity. So slow metabolism means weak immunity. Not to mention that melatonin atrophies your thymus gland, which is a very important gland for good immune function. So when all said and done, melatonin is really only making you chronically tired or fatigued by weakening your body's ability to produce energy, which isn't a smart or effective way to fall asleep. So you're probably wondering, well then Nick, if melatonin is so bad, give me some alternatives. What the heck can I do to fall asleep without destroying my health? Very good question. You see, one misconception about sleep is that you actually need energy to fall asleep. Now, I know that sounds contradictory. You're probably thinking, why would I want to be energized? The reason I can't fall asleep is I have too much energy, my mind's racing. But I defer. You see, the reason your mind's racing, you can't fall asleep is because of those stress hormones. Cortisol and adrenaline, well, those, although they suppress your metabolism, they're gonna give you a false sense of high or energy. Adrenaline and cortisol highs are not healthy highs or forms of energy. In fact, they are the classic stimulatory hormones in the body, and do not confuse energy with stimulation, two different things. So the thing that you're gonna wanna do to get good quality sleep and put an end to the racing mind, the insomnia, etc., is you're gonna actually wanna take proactive steps to reduce not just cortisol and adrenaline, but also melatonin. So how can you do that? Well, first and foremost, melatonin being the hormone of darkness, my tip for you is, see that guy up there? Get a little bit more of that. Sunlight. Sunlight is a great inhibitor of melatonin production. And certainly it's gonna energize you, but not, again, in a stimulatory way. And anybody that's sunbathed or spent a good amount of time in the sun knows this. After a long day in the sun, it actually helps promote good quality, restful, deep sleep. Key on deep, restful sleep, where melatonin actually impairs rejuvenative sleep. So you don't actually rejuvenate or regenerate under the influence of melatonin. Again, it impairs the metabolism and immunity. So it's gonna disrupt proper rejuvenation and regeneration of your body while you're sleeping, even if it does make you fall asleep. Tip number 2 for lowering melatonin: lower your intake of tryptophan-rich foods and balance it off with glycine-rich foods like gelatin and collagen. The reason for this is tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin, and serotonin is a precursor to melatonin. So by reducing your tryptophan intake, that's gonna help lower the melatonin systemically throughout your body. But also, let's talk about how to lower cortisol and adrenaline. If anybody's ever had that restless mind, that wired, tired feeling, you can thank cortisol and adrenaline for that. You see, those hormones, again, they stimulate you. They don't really energize you. And they're great inhibitors of good sleep. But no worries, I actually have 2 really simple things you can do to lower both cortisol and adrenaline to make sure that you fall asleep deeply and actually rejuvenate. Tip number 1, cortisol has a relationship with your blood sugar. So low blood sugar means high cortisol, vice versa. So you can do a great deal of lowering your cortisol levels by taking in healthy forms of sugar and stabilizing the blood sugar. Now, thanks to the keto movement, a lot of you are afraid of sugar, which I'll get into in other videos. But the fact of the matter is, taking in healthy forms of sugar, which do not include candy, pastries, donuts, cakes, etc., is actually going to lower cortisol. So my tip for you there, take in some raw honey or maple syrup or some organic fruit just before bed to lower that cortisol. Now, for lowering adrenaline, which you're gonna wanna do if you wanna sleep well, you can lower adrenaline effectively by taking in healthy forms of salt or sodium. So a good little combo here, a sleep combo, instead of the melatonin, would be to get daily sunlight every day, get at least 15 minutes, especially as soon as you wake up, to set your circadian rhythm. The second thing is, just before bed, take in a tablespoon of raw honey and a little dash of sea salt. That's gonna be effective for lowering the cortisol and adrenaline. Here are 2 safe, effective supplements that won't ruin your health. First is going to be L-theanine, an amino acid that increases GABA and lowers cortisol. This is going to be very beneficial for good REM sleep. I would recommend 1,000 milligrams of L-theanine before bed for lowering cortisol and increasing GABA production, which is going to help induce the slow brain waves that help you sleep well. Next, I would recommend the amino acid glycine, which you can find abundantly in gelatin and collagen supplements like this. This has very similar mechanisms to L-theanine. It's a great way to promote good sleep. If you don't want to take the supplement, then try a cup of bone broth, homemade bone broth, just before bed with a little salt. That should knock you right out. So there you have it. Those are the reasons, the simplified version of why melatonin is bad for you. Now, if you're curious more about the science and the physiology, definitely check out my blog where I write up on this topic pretty frequently. I'll post that beneath this video. Otherwise, for those of you having trouble sleeping, give these tips a try. If you want to supplement with anything I recommend throughout this video, I'll link everything I mentioned again in the description box below. Otherwise, that does bring today's video to a close. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and if you want to see more videos just like this. Otherwise, I'm Nick Kowalski and I'll see you guys next time.